So I dug out my extremely old laptop. I don't know how old it is, but it's got Windows XP 32-bit on it. And the only time I actually turn it on is to get Brick XCC running. Because Brick X, whatever I thought it was, Command Center, Brick XCC, is to use this USB tower to connect to my RCX, because that tower driver only works on 32-bit machines, and I believe it only works on machines that predate Windows 7. So this is the machine I used extensively back in my robot programming days, and so the only time I actually turn it on is to program robots or RCXs. So quick little program. What I did was I took I had an idea. Previous video I showed you how to use LDCC, Lego Digital Command Center, command control that they use for trains, and how to program RCX to talk to LDCC on a different RCX to control the track. So the track was controlled by LDCC, and the RCX controlled all the sensors and sent programs or commands over to the LDCC, programmed RCX to start, stop, and slow down and speed up the trains. But I thought, well, the loop is really tiny, so it shouldn't draw that many amps, and the motor in here is pretty small. So I thought, why don't I just directly control the track from the RCX? So no LDCC, no IR communication between two RCXs. So we'll put that aside for now. So this guy here, the sensor input, goes all the way up to this light sensor, and there's the light there that shines across. So basically you're making a beam. I might change that to a magnetic read sensor on the bottom, so you won't see the lights, the wires and stuff like that. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. But right now, the guy comes and crosses the stream, creates the break, which gets sent back to the RCX, which then turns off. This is the output to the track. So there's my connection to the track. There's my output. This is what I'm actually using the power to light right now, because I'm just too lazy to find a battery box or something else. So this will be track 1, this will be track 2, this will be track 3. I have 4 loops, so I might just do track 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 on another RCX. I don't know yet. We'll have to figure that out in a bit. But right now, I do run a different firmware on the RCX than the built-in one that came out when the RCX came out. Somebody created a second, a different firmware that runs faster and better and cleaner, and it senses things better. So I always use that one. I mean, you can use the stock firmware, because this is just coding using NQC. You can actually just use the whatever RCX software that came with your RCX, because basically it's turn on the track, let the guy go around until it breaks the stream, then stop the train, or at least the monorail. But what I want to do is I want to, without putting sensors everywhere on the layout, I just want to put sensors in one spot. I want the monorail to stop at this sensor and then time it till I think it's going to get to the next train station, monorail station, and stop there. So I only have to have one sensor, and then all the stations are just timed after that. And every time it reclasses the stream, it resets that timing. So even if it gets out of sync and it just stops before or after the other stations, I don't care. Most of the time it's going to stop in the station, either inside the big tower or by the habitat or whatever. So one sensor will control the entire loop, and then every time the monorail crosses it, it'll just reset it. And so I got timers for the various stations. Of course, there's 0 stations on this guy, but I programmed into the default one and one on the opposite side. So when I hit, and I can hit run on the RCX, but what fun would that be? I'm going to go hit run on the thing. Now the first time through, it actually has to set itself. So it comes around, crosses the stream, and it stops and waits. And then it goes to the other side, stops and waits. That's it. That's the entire program. And the time it stops, I'm going to change So it'll look like it stopped at a train station so people can get off and on. So that's variable. And of course, the time delay from here to there is the variable. So I think this loop will just keep on doing this. I don't know if I'll do it half or quarter. I don't know yet. I don't care. The bigger loops, when there's actually it's going to a train station at the various buildings on the layout, it will stop inside the building or next to the building. I might put all the sensors here because this is 1, 2, and 3 all ready to go already on this guy. So I don't have to run wires anywhere else. I was thinking about doing it back on the main base, but then I'm going to have wires in the main base. So these things are going to be hidden and going right down to the base plate, underneath the base plate, back to my RCX. Or I just might bury RCX inside here and just run power to it. I don't know yet. That's going to be something, because like inside this thing is basically hollow. I can fit stuff in there. It'll take a bit to take apart and modify it to fit 2 RCXs, and then I have to worry about how to get power to them when I'm setting up and taking down. But right now, I think this is good. And I think the RCX will be able to handle it. I don't think I'm pulling too many amps or milliamps to run these motors. Maybe on the bigger loops, I don't know. That's why on the LDCC, they crossed all these outputs, and with one 2x8. Do I actually have it still? I don't even have it here. I'll probably put it away. 2x8 electric brick, so it would have all the milliamps from all the outputs. I'm not an electrical engineer by any stretch, so I don't know how many. I know that thing has a thermal break, so if it gets too hot, it'll shut down, and that protects the RCX. But there you go. I'm pretty happy with how this thing's working right now. I'm going to have different beeps for different monorail loops, so it sounds like it's at the station or something. I don't know. I don't think you'll be able to hear it at a show, because that's what happens. It's just too loud. But that, I think, is pretty much a done deal. We now have not just powered monorails on a powered monorail loop from the track, but we also have programmable monorails just by using an RCX and not using LDCC, although I like doing that too. But this is working perfectly fine. I had it running for 20 minutes. It didn't stop. There was one point when I was testing it that I had to push it because the monorail pickups were not touching. One thing I did do is I left the battery compartment on the back. As you can see, the wire's not there anymore. As you can see, you don't see the wire at the bottom going to the monorail motor. But I did it for weight, actually, so it would stay on the track better. Because I think it might just be too light. If I take the battery out, the sudden stops and starts might make it fall off. I don't know. It is pretty top heavy. I'll see. But right now, I've converted this one to run this, and I'll run the entire show. I might do quarters every quarter. I'm going to test that. But there you go. I hope you liked it. I'll talk to you guys later.